Hello, good evening to those who watch us from Europe, and good afternoon to our American audience. Today we will be talking about the current situation in Serbia with the head of our Serbian section, Comrade Milan.
Hi.
And I will be accompanied by our usual representative from the United States, Comrade Thomas.
Glad to be here.
So before we go into the actual topic, discussing the current situation in the country, the tasks of the Serbian communists, we will have to go in discussing economy, industry, some specific characteristics of the country, and of course, don't forget to hit the like button, share and subscribe if you have not done it before. You can always write your messages in our YouTube chat. And I think we will start. So, first of all, Milan, can you describe the situation in the country as a whole?
So, of course, so in Serbia, in our current capitalism, situation regarding proletariat is that majority of employees or workers in Serbia work in processing industry. This is about 500,000 people, and a little bit less are employed in trade. And there is about half of this, so let's say about 200,000 is employed in construction, and other are employed in civil sector, and that's pretty much all. Serbian proletariat is not so big, as the country is not so big. And this is mainly where people work here. So this is where we will later discuss about some really specific things. But in general, we can say that Serbia is country like all other Eastern Europe countries.
Mm-hmm. Can you explain what kind of industry is there in the country? What are the specific industries of the current Serbian economy?
So, from mainly all industries coming from abroad, this is because the Serbian government is trying to create like Europe and Hong Kong, and we have laws that to attract all these investments from Europe, from China, and we have a lot of industries related to extraction of extraction of some natural goods. So there is no some really specific industry. We can say that we have pretty much everything. Whoever wants to come here and work, he can come, and that's all.
So I wanted to jump in and ask a question. You mentioned before about the processing industry being one of the big sectors, and now you mentioned extraction as well. So we have what extraction, I suppose you mean like mining, and I wanted to
Yes.
ask you if you would clarify what kind of processing. I assume you mean minerals processing, but is this what kind of minerals, and is this a dirty industry?
Yes, there is and minerals and dirty industry, because we don't have some big companies here. We have this 500,000 of workers in processing industry. This is like chemical industry and like this. But all of these companies are relatively small, so we cannot say that there's something really specific. Let's say a lot of chemical industry.
And I assume this is for export to, bigger
Yes,
countries
yes.
where these chemicals and these minerals are going to be used to create finished products.
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Regarding the current global economic situation, it's economic crisis, and can you say how does it affect Serbian economy in particular?
Yeah, so this politic of attracting foreign investments was successful in one period, and there was some economic growth. And after this period of accelerated economic growth related to investment, now we cannot see this type of growth like everywhere in Europe, and because of this, we have a situation that these laws regarding industry is our government is trying to remove every single law to protect, let's say, to protect nature, to protect workers. A lot of workers are working here without contracts, and this is how Serbian bourgeoisie is trying now to keep this growth.
Is there much support for these kinds of laws to get, or should I say, to get rid of these laws that protect nature and protect, health?
How I mean, is it?
Do people say in America we have a lot of people who say, yeah, let's get rid of these regulations and then we'll get new business and we'll get more jobs.
Yeah, so this is exactly the situation here also.
But it's popular, or is it just a certain?
No, it's not popular in. If we speak about people, about proletariat, about even small bourgeoisie, about all these people with petty bourgeois ideology, they don't like it. We have even big protests against big companies from about regarding mining. They are trying to do something with lithium here, and it's not popular, but on the end everything is finished with this a few protests with from these liberal groups, and that's all. Government is continuing.
Right. Here in the U.S., these protests against the shutting down of regulations, they're very marginal. They're very small left-wing groups. Sometimes they'll chain themselves to a pipeline, this sort of thing, but they don't seem to be very large here in the U.S. But you're saying, are there large protest demonstrations?
Yes,
among
yes.
major groups?
Yes, because here liberals are trying to use every single everything to protest about against government, and also everyone here has this peasants and petit bourgeois ideology, even liberals. So this kind of protests are popular here. I mean, it's also everywhere in Europe. This is something more specific to Europe.
So one can say that in Serbia they protest in favor of state regulations rather than in favor of free market.
Yes.
Hmm. Well, for communists, it's obvious that there is no actual contradiction between the state and the market, the capitalist economy, because in fact the state is the main defender of the capitalist regime, of the capitalist system. However, in our current world, both companies and the governments of many countries try to position themselves as defenders of their homeland, of their nature against big corporations, against foreign, Western, or Eastern companies.
And there was a question earlier that Vasily asked about the proletariat, the labor movement in Serbia. Is this connected to this issue at all, or is there something else that we can say about the state of the labor movement? You mentioned that it's a small kind of proletarian base in this country. You know, it's a smaller country, but what overview can we give of the labor movement in Serbia?
Yes, so I think we will later discuss more about this left movement, but about labor movement almost that exists here. So mainly these protests were organized by these liberals.
Any role of the unions in the U.S.? We have a lot of work between liberal traditional politics and the unions, the bigger unions. Is there anything like this happening?
No. We have just one union one trade union with which is like trying to protest against some whatever, but this is a complete liberal group. This is actually not a union. This is just one small liberal group, because they are participate in all these political protests. They are members of these liberal parties, so they are just calling themselves union.
Is there any strength or any kind of how should I say this? Any real activity from the labor movement in Serbia?
No, for now, there were just a few years before. There was one big protest in city Kragujevac, and mostly big or any kind of protest in this, at least from this. Unions or workers we don't have here.
I'd like to mention that sometimes people think, like when someone is speaking about labor movement, they say that there is now actual movement in the country. It doesn't necessarily mean that there are no strikes or labor conflicts. On the contrary, they always exist just because, well, capitalism exists, and capitalism is the thing that creates well, the capitalists, but also the proletariat, and therefore it also creates class conflicts, which result in conflicts in the workplace, different sporadic strikes. But when we speak about the actual movement, when we speak about the lack of movement, we mean that there is no organized movement. Like, strikes pop here and there, but they either end without any results, or they end with some minor concessions to the workers. And the main issue is that these movements, these actions are not organized on a centralized basis. They just pop up simply because workers here and there are tired of their current situation. They want to change their life to better, and they go for strike, they do some protest actions. But again, when we speak about lack of movement, we speak first of all about lack of organized movement.
Yes, and definitely, definitely, like Vasily told, yes, we have these minor conflicts between workers and bourgeoisie here, but if when we speak about this organized fight against bourgeoisie, uh, there is we cannot see it here for now. But it will, of course, like everywhere, it will happen here also.
Sure. I can only add that very often when we hear about counter-revolutions in Eastern Europe, about the dissolution of the socialist system, we often hear as capitalists prize these events as democratic revolutions, as victories of liberal ideals. However, in reality, almost everywhere we can see that those democratic revolutions ended in actually depriving workers of their rights, even depriving the right to have an actual political, an actual communist representatives. The movements are destroyed, and workers are brainwashed into believing that the current system is the best, and the only alternative is some evil Red Scare communism. So this is one of the factors that contribute to lack of a similar organized labor activities in Eastern Europe, in Russia as well, where it's almost completely dominated by yellow trade unions, and across different countries as well.
Yes, and you also mentioned these liberal so-called democratic revolutions in Eastern Europe. So for Serbia, if we also have this one, and for Serbia, this is a characteristic that even these liberals, Democrats, they are really nationalists here. So this is because nationalism is really popular in Serbia, of course, because of Kosovo. So situation, for example, like in Armenia, and because of problems in Armenia, and here there is, for example, one interview with former Prime Minister of Serbia, Zoran Djindjic. This is a liberal who replaced Milosevic. And in that interview, he really nice explains okay, we have gained some credibility in the West, and what we are doing now with this credibility, well, of course, we need to defend Serbian interests. Of course, this is interest of Serbian bourgeoisie in Bosnia, in Kosovo, and when liberals and nationalists discuss about Kosovo in Serbia, they are mostly this is like discussion who can be better in this fight for Kosovo. So we can see that all these so-called democratic revolutions from liberals, on the end, they think this is the same, like everything is the same like before. Just they are more democratic because they want to cooperate with West, but not with East.
Right, and this even applies to the whole communist movement right now, where people have this pessimistic view on the class approach, and so they adopt kind of this radical nationalism, and they say that nationalism is really the only thing that could be progressive in the modern times, and that we have to embrace this left-wing nationalism. And we have a comment here on the stream right now talking about how the workers in Serbia are more kind of left wing. And so I think that might be talking about this kind of anti-American nationalism, or anti-imperialist nationalism. And this is, I mean, a huge, not just in Serbia. I assume this is a big thing in Serbia. This kind of, so maybe you can speak on that. But
yes,
it's
but
huge in the West.
Yeah, in Serbia, of course, especially because of this intervention from NATO and bombing Serbia, and this is really hard to explain to people in Serbia that imperialism, it is not just when NATO is bombing you. This is hard to explain to people that imperialism is stage of capitalism and how everything works in imperialism. So this is one big issue with left movement here, because this anti-imperialism is they all think that this is fight against America.
Right, and this concept is everywhere. It touches almost every issue that we debate right now. Whether we're talking about Ukraine or Israel Palestine, that this national question takes the precedent, and this kind of, well, here in America and in the West, they're always talking about anti-American, anti-West kind of focus for it. But you talked about other kinds of imperialism. We mentioned before how Serbia is becoming this kind of European Hong Kong, and they're slashing regulations to bring in new growth, new foreign investment. Is it all from Europe and NATO, or what other kinds of imperialism?
No,
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so especially we have the situation that we are doing. Serbian bourgeoisie is doing this to attract Chinese investments because they have a lot of money, and Serbia has this conflict with West about Kosovo, and there is. Another solution for Serbian bourgeoisie to use Eastern financial capital from China, and we have here also investments from Turkey, from China, really big investments. So it is not just from West.
Mm-hmm. And since we're speaking about economic expansion of different major powers in Serbia, what are the main forces in the political sphere of the Serbian state, and what policies does the government pursue? Like, are they pro-Russian or pro-European? From the information we have, we can see that the Serbian government, led by Vucic, tries to balance between Russia and Western powers. Like, on one side, they're pro-Russian, they make different exclamations like we're brothers with Russia, and at the same time they support anti-Russian sanctions, and they accept the goal of joining the European Union in the future.
But all these ideological ideas about brotherhood with Russians or with Chinese or whatever has some economical background, because in general, like I already said, we here is this problem with Kosovo, and all we know that this financial capital from West is really strong. And for governments like Serbian, for countries like Serbia, it is really good, and this is logical to work with them. But there is this problem with Kosovo, and this all these ideological ideas about brotherhood with Russians, other Slavs or Chinese, strong friendship with Chinese. Everything is related to this situation that Serbia cannot fully join European Union because of this Kosovo problem, and they need to somehow balance and use financial capital from East, also attract all these investments because companies from West don't want to cooperate always with Serbia, and this is really this economical background of why they are. This is not because they are more for Serbia than other bourgeoisie. Every single bourgeoisie likes their own country. This is when I say country, I mean capitalist country, and this is just because of this specific position that they want to use, and they want to join this powerful Western financial capital, but they cannot do this because of problem with Kosovo. When somebody wants to take from you such a big part of your country, it's not acceptable for any bourgeoisie.
Right, and I wanted to ask you about that economic background to this kind of left, I almost said left-right, but east-west thing. We have, like the Belt and Road, China's infrastructure project. They, years ago, said that they wanted to build a railway through Serbia, right, connecting kind of the Turkish and Asian market and connecting that with Germany. And then we've got the recent gas pipeline that just opened in December of last year, the Bulgarian-Serbian gas interconnector. And I wanted to ask, this, supporters of China and supporters of Eastern capital, they say, oh, we're bringing development to Serbia, and these roads that they're building through Serbia to kind of bring goods from the East and bring it into the bigger economies in the West, like Germany and France. Is this really, developing Serbia? And the thing I really wanted to ask was, bringing gas from the East and bringing it to Germany, and bringing goods from China and bringing them to, Germany and the EU. Isn't that a win-win for both East and West? Doesn't Germany want? And people were arguing when this pipeline was established. Oh, this is a plot by Russia, to get gas into Europe. And then other people on the pro-China side were saying, oh, this is a plot from Europe to make Serbia dependent on this trade of gas and minerals and things. So what's the real situation, for this economic activity? Is it really partisan?
Yeah, so we can say that in this capitalist way, yes, it is developing. For example, Serbia, but when we are not we are not liberals, we are not capitalists, we are communists, and we want good for workers. And what is because this idea, this is really an old revisionist story about how good is for us that our capitalism is developing, because if our capitalism is developed, then maybe here will be social revolution, and this is just like all the social chauvinist story. Even Lenin was talking about these positions. So this is not something new that we have some so-called socialists that they will talk about how it is good to develop productive forces of our capitalism.
I wanted to clarify for the supporters of China who may be, supporters of the Russian China, the Eastern capital side, of which there are many, in the communist movement. I wanted to clarify for them, so is Serbia really friendly with Russia and China and hostile to Germany and the EU and America, or is that just kind of a narrative?
Yes, it is. Oh, and companies from China, people from China, from Russia, from West, they can work here if they want to. If they want to invest here, it is Serbia is open for all investments.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can also add that, yeah, praising the economic development itself, like taken without any specific conditions, was one of the key features of opportunists and revisionists who tried to argue that the economic development itself will bring socialism somehow. I want to say that taking it without any specific conditions is what makes it an opportunist. In every particular situation, there is a war, and when we are invaded, the productive forces are damaged. So we need to unite with the government and basically support our own capitalists. While it's it's actually real that capitalists, by developing their economy, the economy of their nation, capitalists prepare foundations for their own defeat, since if they make industry, they create workplaces, they create more proletariat. However, this development itself will not bring socialism. It will not peacefully make transition to socialism. It's actually the class struggle, the theory and organization that represents workers as political force that establish socialism. And this is one of the key features that differ actual communists, real socialists, from those fake socialists, i.e. opportunists and revisionists.
And from what I can see from what Milan was talking about, the pro-China side, the pro kind of market socialism side is saying that we need to struggle against the EU and struggle against this vampiric Western capital, but support this developing and progressive, Eastern capital from Iran or Russia or China. But it seems from what Milan was saying that you have both both capital doing the same thing, and from what I can see, building, a road connecting Germany to China, that's helpful for both sides of that East-West divide. Germany wants access to this gas from Azerbaijan that's flowing through Serbia. Germany wants the cheap goods from China, and China wants to sell goods to the big economies in Germany. So it doesn't seem to be this divide that we've heard so much about. And for Serbia, it seems that the Serbian workers have to equally struggle against, these foreign investors from both camps.
Yes, of course, but this is maybe also good for Serbian capitalists, but for Serbian workers, it is, of course, not good.
One of the key features, like key issues that represent this East versus West point of view is the question of Kosovo. Since the situation there has been deteriorating over the past couple of years, and just in the previous year, in 2023, 2022, we saw some escalation in the region. We saw a Serbian president making some very brave statements, almost declaring the special situation there in the region, almost raising the armed forces, but not actually doing so.
Yes, but there we can see that really there is there are just games to divert attention from social problems, because when we have something that Serbian bourgeoisie want to do regarding I don't know, some not popular moves, if they make some problem on Kosovo, tell to this armed forces, Serbian on Kosovo, let's create there some problem, shoot somebody or whatever, and then they speak all day about how Serbians are attacked by Albanians. We need to unite. Don't worry about social problems. We need to be together and fight against Albanians because they want to kill Serbs on Kosovo. So, in general, neither Serbia, neither Albanian bourgeoisie on Kosovo is not possible by themselves to solve this issue on some way, because solving this national problem in capitalism is not possible. And what they just use this situation to just to divert attention from social problems, both in Albanians and Serbs.
Oh, well, a lot of people who really talk about that East-West divide, and support the Eastern side, of course, they would really argue that the importance and the threat of this divide is the threat of NATO invasion of Serbia, on behalf of Kosovo. And then they would say on the other side that, it's actually the Eastern capital, China, who are selling military equipment to Serbia to defend themselves from this great, total threat of NATO invasion. And they cite, of course, the war from the 1990s, where NATO intervened in Yugoslavia, I guess at that time, and Serbia more specifically. Is this so? So you're saying that? Well, we've talked about how NATO is economically invested in Serbia, but you're saying that this war posturing is just posturing.
Oh yes, but this is obviously another story from social chauvinists, just to support China, because everything they see is NATO attacked Serbia, but they don't know a lot from this history of Serbian and Albanian conflict on Kosovo. For example, communists close to Bolsheviks. For example, one of them, very popular, called he was Dmitry Tucovic. He wrote one book, for example, about how Serbian bourgeoisie is everything what is happening on Kosovo, even from this period, is because of Serbian bourgeoisie, because Serbia wanted to have go to sea, and the only way where Serbian bourgeoisie in this period could do it was through Albania, and they attacked Albania, and there was war between Albania and Serbia, and all this not so friendly relations between these two nations is because of this try of Serbia to go to sea through Albania. And then some social chauvinists from West can say, okay, so we want to protect Albanians from Serbs, and we are good because of this, and this is just another way to support some bourgeoisie.
And you were saying earlier as well that the Serbian government is kind of pushing the idea of this threat of the Kosovo issue. Can you tell us more about the opinion of Serbian people towards this possible conflict or this ongoing thing?
So because they're using this situation too often, so now people even started not to mention everything because it is not possible to believe someone that we have attack on all of us every 2 months, and then all of these people, everybody see that all these peoples who are attacked on Kosovo are actually somehow connected with Vucic. So now people in Serbia, this is good that they understand that everything is actually like fake, and that they are just trying to not to make the situation that to unite with them, not attack our government, because we cannot attack our government if somebody want to attack us. So let's unite. So people in Serbia, I think, already understand that this is role for what is role of this kind of situations.
Well, that's very funny. I hear this kind of cynicism from Russians as well. You know that everyone in the West will be panicking about, some event, Western aggression or some internal event in Russia or Serbia. But it's just inside Russia. There's so much hysteria, outside on the internet, but then inside Russia, people are kind of very cynical and, sarcastic about it.
Yes, I don't know about Russia, but here, yes, in this situation.
Mm-hmm. Well, the actual conflict goes back in history, and its active phase actually started maybe even before the Yugoslav wars. And this is where I think we will have to make a small
This historical interlude.
Yeah. To get a bit back in history, and in the history of socialist Yugoslavia, if one can say that it was socialist. Well, people usually hear about conflict between Stalin and Tito, and the capitalist historians usually portray it as the conflict of personalities. Like, Stalin was obviously bad, Stalin was a tyrant, and he just wanted to subdue Yugoslavia. But Tito did not want to be under Stalinist regime, he declared his own socialism, etc., etc. So, who was right, Stalin or Tito?
Yes, interesting question. So, in one word, Stalin was right, but why? What was happening there? So, these ideological problems between Stalin and Tito, it was not just Stalin and Tito. There were a problem with the Communist Party of Yugoslavia for a long time before this split between Yugoslavia and Soviet Union, because here this Communist Party was not developed from this Bolshevik party, from this with these ideological schools, but here mostly Communist Party growth on solving national problems. For example, Serbs were a major nation in Kingdom of Yugoslavia, and they they oppressed other nations. So some Croatians, people from Macedonia, from Montenegro, they supported Communist Party of Yugoslavia because Comintern politic of Comintern was to split Yugoslavia in this period, and not just social, not just these national issues, but there were also this growth of the Communist Party of Yugoslavia was related to some trade union, and this is mainly everything. This is hard to say that it was actually Bolshevik-like Communist Party. It was really questionable what kind of party it was, because we can see a lot of ideological problems much earlier, when even regarding this national question, when Stalin, for example, discussed about this with Yugoslavian socialists. So first of all, we can say that Communist Party of Yugoslavia was not good enough ideologically prepared, and they, when Second World War started, there was a situation that they started, of course, war against Germans here, created these partisan groups, and what happened then in this already bad ideologically prepared party, this party growth on base of new anti-German, all these people who just wanted to fight against German occupation. So and you can imagine what happened after this. Like Lenin said, better small but better than bigger and worse. So already bad party, and then Tito realized in some moment, okay, we have now a lot of people, we can really fight for to be in power, to take government, and he really didn't think about what he's doing. He just saw, okay, I have some power, I can fight to be against current regime. It doesn't matter what I will create after that. And then we saw that here there was no any collectivization. It started just a little bit after Second World War. What communists of Yugoslavia actually did, they after war, they just used all government institutions and just replaced old people with new people. They even told that the small bourgeoisie from Yugoslavia, it is not like kulaks from Soviet Union. This small bourgeoisie helped us in war, so we don't want to fight against them. Even some ex-big capitalists were very important persons in the Communist Party of Yugoslavia. If we speak about Tito really didn't understand anything about Marxism. He even never talked about this. He just spoke about fight against Germans. He never used. He even didn't try to use this Marxist terminology too much. So for this, we here Yugoslavians. There were actually some other guys from Communist Party of Yugoslavia that was for this kind of story to make it more Marxist in terminology, and this is mainly this is if we speak about Tito. Tito was really bad in these ideological terms, and we saw that even immediately after Second World War, Tito told that East and West, this is the same. We don't want to be between them. If you want to fight without us. But on the same time, for example, he tried to create a Balkan Socialist Federation in situation when Greek partisans was in fight with these fascists, and it was really bad for them because of this idea from Tito. Americans had the opportunity to use their armed forces to kill a lot of Greek partisans. So mainly Tito just wanted power for himself, and that's.
Well, you mentioned his ideological problems and his, kind of talking about the same, being on the same side, East and West. And that goes back to this kind of sudden formation of the kind of anti-German political forces, the partisan forces. And so on one side, you've got the Chetniks, right, these Serbian nationalists who start collaborating with the Germans, right? But I wanted to ask, I've heard that, the British were really helpful to the Yugoslav partisans and Tito, and in fact that Tito led the partisan, his own partisan forces from the British island base of Vis, if I'm saying that correctly, in the Adriatic Sea. That he was based there for a while, and that Churchill kind of gave the okay for the British and the British Secret Services to work with Tito during World War II.
Yes.
Because the Chetniks were working with the Germans. So you can confirm. Do you think this has any relevance for the kind of ideological problems? Like, I think it's interesting.
No, this is just interesting, but ideological problems or background for this ideological problems was related to what this party, Communist Party of Yugoslavia, actually was. Because they used this support from English imperialists. Of course, yes, even Churchill's son was related in
right. He visited
here.
Vis, and he worked with the partisans and himself. Yeah,
Yes,
Rudolph.
but this is just consequence for everything. A root cause for ideological problems was not that bad English guys corrupted good Communist Party of Yugoslavia, but that Communist Party of Yugoslavia was already bad, and this is why they could cooperate with British imperialists against Soviet Union.
That's a good explanation. Yeah, that it wasn't wasn't that Churchill ordered Tito to embrace revisionism.
Yes, of course.
One thing that is also worth speaking about a little bit is the fact that Tito actually purged all people who supported the idea of positioning with the Soviet Union. He actually created several concentration camps for them, and the numbers vary. Some sources say that he purged several tens of thousands of people, and some go up to 100,000 pro-Soviet communists and their sympathizers being purged.
Yeah, so it depends how we count this, but problem was when Soviet Union was really popular here in Yugoslavia after Second World War, and the Tito was scared even to say to people that he about this split between Yugoslavia and Soviet Union, and he even they even not telling anything sometime, and when they decide to tell to people that they will not cooperate with Soviet Union anymore, they started with this when they already prepared everything for searching these peoples and everything. So, for example, there was prepared this concentration camp on Iceland called Goli Otok in Croatia. There were a lot of Marxist-Leninists purged, and a lot of Marxist-Leninists were killed there. It was really terrible. For example, this concentration camp was is popular because it was very, very terrible conditions there, even worse than in Nazis concentration camps. So this is why also a lot of communists are killed on the border between Yugoslavia and Romania and Bulgaria, because they tried to go out from Yugoslavia to Soviet Union. So it was it was not possible even to fight against this regime, because Tito was really good prepared for what will happen, and the situation for communists in Yugoslavia after Soviet split between Tito and Stalin was similar to the situation for communists in Germany under Hitler, because they were in danger and killed everywhere. So it was almost impossible to fight against this regime at this period.
And this Tito Stalin split, I wanted to tell our audience and you guys as well, even reached America. That the CPUSA, the Communist Party USA, which was a very strong party at this time, was formed in 1919 with the studies now are showing, between 30 and 50% of the founding people who left the Socialist Party, which was very social chauvinist back in 1919. Eugene Debs and all these people were obsessed with American nativism. But 30 to 50% of the people who split from the Socialist Party and founded the Communist Party USA were from the Yugoslav kingdom at that time. They were Serbs and Croats. So this was a huge part of the early American Communist Party, and so the effect of the split between Tito and Stalin was actually really strong and kind of devastating for these Americans who at that time, back in 1919, they were first-generation immigrants from Yugoslavia, and they maintained a lot of ties to Yugoslavia. So the split, had a very bad effect on the Americans as well.
Yeah, so it was important also because it was the first big popular split, and even other revisionists from the world use this for their situations.
Well, I think that the whole situation requires further research, because, well, it's quite complicated, and the whole history of Yugoslavia, of the Tito's regime, is something that communists must analyze, because very often we see people praising Tito, glorifying this period as they say it's still better than capitalism. However, well, if we look at what was actually the case there, we can see that it 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 had barely any difference from actual capitalism, up to the point that not just Western powers, but the United States themselves supported Tito, funded him with millions of dollars, and as far as I remember, even Eisenhower claimed that they need to keep supporting Yugoslavia because it serves as a bastion of anti-communism, plus it created a false image of successful market socialism, serving as a facade for capitalism. And when this big financial support from the West started going down, this resulted in a big economic crisis and later big bloody wars in the
Yes,
former
this is
Yugoslavia.
Yes, this is really important to explain what was built by Communist Party of Yugoslavia, what kind of social system. Because, like you said, a lot of people think that it was like successful market socialism. Yes, it was. It was. First of all, it wasn't even success because the Soviet Union growth was much bigger than in the worst period of Soviet Union economy than best period of Yugoslavian economy. But for example, if you see how much Yugoslavian economy growth, even with all this support from West and everything, growth was approximately like in Greece, for example. So it was not something really respectful. And but why? Because this economical system was not really successful. It was a big problem because it was just one pet bourgeois system. There were, like we already discussed, there were a lot of small peasants. So what was this system? This system provide good price whatever happened on market. This system provides a good price for peasants goods for their products, and peasants were happy because of this. And also workers was like owners of factories, so it was actually shareholders. And this it was actually some kind of this shareholderism. And it was for example, consequence of this was that workers fight in one factory against new workers. So we don't like more workers because we want to have more percent of profit. And this is so it was not real. It is very hard to call this system of socialism because it was completely it is something like utopian socialism. And why it could happen that some utopians could come to power. It is just because of this conflict between Soviet Union and imperialism. And for example, in normal conditions, no, not normal, but in current conditions, it is not possible to have a country like ex-Yugoslavia because you cannot have economy like this. This is just something what is paid by imperialism to exist sometime while existed the Soviet Union, and that's all.
Mm-hmm. And after the dissolution of Yugoslavia, were there any communists? Like, what is the whole situation with the left movement and the communist movement in former Yugoslavia and in Serbia in particular?
Yeah, so communists were not so popular in that period because economical situation was really bad, and everybody knows that it was because of League of Communists of Yugoslavia, and they thought, okay, communists are bad because look what they did to us. And a long time after all these wars, there were no any communist groups, just small Yugo-nostalgic groups of people, and that was all. So we can maybe mention of these groups, like New Communist Party of Yugoslavia or Union of Communist Movement for Yugoslav Restoration. It was also one group of ex people from military people, and but we can say that they were not relevant. Like today, all these groups are not relevant in real politics in Serbia or any ex-Yugoslav country.
Mm-hmm. So this new Communist Party of Yugoslavia is the main organization that pretends to be communists.
Yes, they call they are telling that they are even Marxist-Leninists. Yes, but why? Because they're this is something like Communist Party of Russian Federation in Russia. We all know this Zyuganov and what is this party, and because also Communist Party of Russian Federation is also telling that they are Marxist-Leninist, and the same story with this new Communist Party of Yugoslavia. So their leader was founder. It was this Branko Kitanovic. He was not so popular, but with some people around, he could create this small party, and he started to cooperate with Communist Party of Greece, KUKUE, and it was they also accept this position that New Communist Party of Yugoslavia is Marxist-Leninist party, and so they are not too big. This is a really small party. Today, even very very small, and really not important in real political life.
Mm-hmm. So they had experience of working with the Communist Party of Greece, and the latter is well known for expanding their activities in the Balkans. Well,
Yes.
mm-hmm. In 2022, after the beginning of the so-called special military operation of Russian Federation in Ukraine, as it's officially called, by the way, on this day, it's exactly 2 years since the beginning of all these events. So after this, there was a split in the communist movement when one part started supporting Russia and China, social chauvinist side, and the rest declared themselves opposing both imperialist camps. However, from what we can see, just the summer of the previous year, the youth section of the Greek Communist Party was working fine with the new Communist Party of Yugoslavia, up to even making some joint activities. I don't remember, it was something like anti-NATO demonstrations or something.
Yes. They came to Belgrade to their common demonstration against NATO, and for them it was okay to work with people who support Russian imperialism.
Mm-hmm. I think it's quite weird that on one side you proclaim yourselves being against both Russian Chinese imperialist camp and against the Western imperialist as well, and at the same time working with the people who are not just acting on the opposite basis, but are also openly proclaiming their support for Russia, for Russian capitalism, up to go into distracting workers by saying that they are actually anti-imperialist, despite the fact that there are people in the Russian army who can be considered as not just far right, but also neo-Nazis. And these exact people exist in the Ukrainian army, and that's quite weird. Looks inconsistent. What do you think?
Yes, but this is just because of general policy of Communist Party of Greece. Because what they want just to have as much as possible parties around Communist Party of Greece. Why? Because they want to play this international game, like they are new Comintern, they are leaders of world communist movement, and if you want to play this role, you need a lot of communist party, so-called communist party, that supports you, and how you will come to this situation if you accept that everybody who call themselves party and Marxist-Leninist party is actually communist party. So and the Communist Party of Greece, this is just what they are doing.
Mm-hmm. Plus, I think it's worth noting that the Communists of Greece were actually working with this NCPY even years before 2022, and like it's not that their social chauvinist sentiments popped up from nowhere. Just like in the Russian so-called Communist Workers' Party, these were probably prepared years before these current events in Ukraine. And in this case, it's even funnier when social chauvinists claim that there is some sort of dictatorship of the KKE, that KKE orders to behave in its interests, while in reality all we can see is, on the contrary, lack of any clear direction that could be ordered, without any attempt to smooth, to make it vague.
Yes, and what you said, that social chauvinism in these groups was were not come from nowhere. It was characteristic of all these parties even earlier, and Communist Party of Greece know about everything in this in earlier years. I even spoke with some leaders of this Communist Party of Greece earlier, and spoke about this situation, and they just told me that okay, but we have relations with them, and because of relations, we want to work with them. I didn't know what does it mean, but just because of relations, we can see even that today, just because of relations, they are support some weird groups in Russia, and this is strange in work of Communist Party of Greece.
Mm-hmm. And many weird parties are in the IMCWP that don't seem to have the same level of activity as other parties, and it's unclear why there's relations with one and not the other, and these sorts of things.
Yeah, but because, like I already said, they just want these relations because if they have relations with some so-called communist parties from other countries, they can tell that they are leaders of world communist movement.
Well, cases like this, I think, require another materials like other streams, videos, etc. But for now, I think we have to speak about the tasks that the Serbian communists are currently facing. What are the main directions of development, in your opinion?
So, we can say that problems we are facing here are not on many ways specific, because we have pretty much common way to work like in other countries. What is specific for us is to fight against this legacy of Yugoslavian revisionism. It is important because to explain people that it was not socialism, and that if we are not fighting for something like this, we need to explain to other people what is real socialism, and this is something specific for us. So we can say that, like in other countries, we need to work on our communist education, and for this we have our Marxist club, Politsturm Marxist clubs. So we work on education, and so like in other countries where Politsturm works, we are then building agitation and propaganda, and we there is like what is one this is important, what I saw that other guys from Europe think about Politsturm, that I mean guys close to Communist Party of Greece, that Politsturm is some group not pretending to be Communist Party in future. And this is because because this guy from Russia, Alexander Bato, explained to all of them that Politsturm don't pretend to be Communist Party, and okay, if they believe in this. So, we want to build, of course, Communist Party, like and here, like like everywhere, and this is this is what we need to do.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Go on, Tom.
Thank you. I had a question earlier. We mentioned that, progressive politics in Serbia are kind of attached to, or at least, this is what's talked about, that progressive ideas are attached to nationalism, this kind of anti-imperialist, so-called nationalism, so-called anti-imperialist, really nationalism. Is this affecting the task of the Serbians? And I wanted to also ask, with the whole war and the kind of ethnic, conflicts, people say, oh, Croats hate Serbs, and, there's so much hatred between, Serbs and Albanians and Serbs and whoever. Is this task of fighting the nationalism and building internationalism, what sort of tasks do we have before us in this capacity?
On some way, it is even good that we have this situation, because it is easier even to us to build internationalism, because for all this nationalism, there is really, especially in new generation, there is really a big response to this nationalism, and they are trying to be international, not to hate Croatians, not to hate Albanians, and also Serbia, even if it is a small country, it is a multi-ethnic country. We have a lot of people from Hungary, from other countries around Serbia. So it is not, even if nationalism is strong here, on some way it is good, because it builds one international response, internationalist response on this nationalism. And regarding this social chauvinism related to China, Russia, I don't think it is something something more related to Serbian movement than in other countries. We can see, for example, in Italy, that there is a big influence of Russia. Even their party related to Communist Party of Greece split because of one group supported Russia and other not. So this is not something really specific to Serbia. We have this issue everywhere, at least in Europe. So this is not so big problem, because we have this internationalist response here.
Right. That's a good answer. Yeah, because our tasks are the same in many cases, and this nationalist question is always arising, and people are always saying that radical nationalism is the only solution, and yet in each case, Serbia, and not just Serbia, many other countries, our tasks of internationalism are the same.
Yes, and also we like organization. You can see that here we are from. We have people from Russia, Serbia, and U.S. So this is proof that our organization is really international. We're a real communist international organization.
Right. People love to be pessimistic and say, oh, this ethnic conflict between Serbs and Croats, or between blah and blah, this is a conflict going back thousands of years, and it's intractable, and it will never be solved. So the only solution is to organize on national lines, and if you're not organizing on national lines, then you're not actually doing things. But it's kind of a fantasy, right? That these national hostilities and ethnic hostilities are timeless and immortal.
Yeah, I can also say that sometimes people think, especially in the Western sphere, that our organization consists only of me and Comrade Thomas, because we're the ones who appear on the international streams. Of course, it's not like that, and very often you can see various people on our Russian YouTube channel where basically the same streams are taking place. It's just that we don't show our members often, because the situation is quite difficult, especially in Russia, in Ukraine, in other post-Soviet countries where we have people and sections. In Russia, for example, they can easily arrest you for even saying that the current events in Ukraine are war. Like, it's officially banned by law, just as in any way referring in negative way to the soldiers of the Russian army. And of course, if we take Ukraine, here the laws are very strict. They have different social media ban, they have this mobilization law adopted just recently. In fact, Ukraine prepares for a very harsh mobilization, and our comrades there are under attack, of course. All these things put very problematic specific conditions. They create specific conditions for our work, and this is why we try not to attract the attention of any state services, state security. One can think that they're too small, state security won't pay attention to them, and well, reality proves us otherwise. In fact, they do, and it's in our interest to use the current conditions up to maximum extent, and to make sure that we take everything useful, that we use this time to build an actual Marxist-Leninist organization, and that we help communists across the world. Because, well, the communists have been proud of their international connections for a very long time. And the communist struggle itself is where, if you're helping somewhere in basically any corner of the world, you're already helping the communist cause as a whole. So no matter where, in Russia, in Ukraine, in Serbia, in other European countries, even in the United States, the stronghold of modern capitalism, of imperialism, even there, communists need to unite, need to organize, and this kind of organization, kind of unity, we're creating in our organization. I think now would be good to give a brief overview of your current work, of the current efforts put in the Serbian section.
Yeah, so so if we speak about our Serbian section, so we work a few years, 2 years approximately, and what we created our Marxist-Leninist clubs. We work on this education by this Politsturm common program, and so also we started on agitation and propaganda. So like other sections, there is a website for Serbian sections like politsturm.com, just RS before this. So this is where we are currently, and we of course work further to develop our organization in Serbia like in other countries.
Mm-hmm. The link for the for Serbian section site is in the chat, and also our Serbian comrades have their own YouTube channel where in the previous year they published a video about Putin building new Soviet Union. It's adaptation of the video that you can find on our international YouTube channel, and it's doing quite fine. The link for the channel is in the chat as well. And, well, I can only say that this development shows that the work that we are carrying out is the right way, and well, despite many problems, many specific things, we will keep developing, and we will keep creating new sections, preparing new communists, and making the revival of the international communist movement come true.
Yeah, because this is not enough, like other groups are doing, just to call themselves like Communist Party. First of all, you need to have a really good prepared communists on all levels, on education, with regarding education, organization, everything. And then when you have a lot of good prepared communists that are capable to fight against capitalism, then you can have party. If you have just a few friends and tell okay, now we are communist party, and if someone like Communist Party of Greece believe you, then this is strange.
Mhm. That's true. Plus, I can add that a lot of people, even 3 decades after the dissolution of the Soviet Union, the defeat of the socialist system, they still believe that everything is lost and there is nothing to begin with. All is left to do is to unite with broad left forces on broad left basis. Everything is lost, and they either join, as I said, broad left platforms, or they just sit and wait till new Lenin appears, who will explain everything well, and they will join him. And I can say that this way of thinking is wrong. Nobody will save the workers except the workers themselves, and of course the communists, as political representatives of the workers, have to organize themselves. This is why we in Politsturm don't wait for any new communists coming from anywhere, from nowhere. We're creating them themselves, we're preparing them themselves, and this sort of work, organized by Russian communists, by Ukrainian communists, by Serbian communists, by communists from other European countries, from the United States. And this work is essential. Without this work, well, in fact, everything will be lost. But as we're working, it comes with my internet connection. It's
Yes, but even if it would be lost, okay, you need to start to work.
Exactly, because this is what Lenin did. This is the Bolshevik way. And well, if you have not joined us yet, I think it's a good time to actually join the work of Politsturm and work on the revival of the international communist movement with communists from different countries. Fill the application form sent in the chat and, well, join our work. On this note, I think it's time to close the stream, because I think we have covered almost all the topics we were preparing for. Comrade Milan, do you want to say anything to our audience?
So just like in our case, you can see that it is really possible to start and work on communist education and start building an organization from this. So, like Vasily already told, join us and work with us.
Mm-hmm. Thomas, would you like to add something?
I think the most important things have been mentioned. But yeah, always space for optimism and this pessimism and this push for inactivity in communist work and embracing of united front with any kind of forces that are existing. This is leading us in an endless circle, and we've seen already for decades a focus on nationalist organizing. So it's time for communist organizing, and the nationalist side has done its work, and it's gone through its stages of development, and there have been new states formed, and even today there's new nationalist, so-called anti-imperialist states forming all the time, and their policies are just as capitalistic as always. And people, shouldn't live in a fantasy where, oh, one more time, one more nationalist project, and we'll, slowly build a space for the socialist movement. No, we have to be that socialist movement, and we have to act like communists and socialists, or else there will be no socialists and communists in existence if we don't, act like them.
Yes, and this is like Lenin said, it's always time for communist work.
When things are bad, that's the time we have the greatest obligation to work hard and to, really try to do some good and, change the basis for how people think of communist work. We have to get our mind out of the depths of depression and pessimism and conciliation, especially class conciliation. And, we've seen the market issue, in Yugoslavia and in nationalist movements today. This issue has not gone away. The problem with markets and the problem of, imperialism in the world market, overlooking it will not solve the problems. And so we have to create a communist movement to actually try to, build something up, from nothing. If there is nothing, then we have to build something.
All right. Comrade Milan, thank you for joining in today. Don't forget to hit the like button, share and subscribe if you haven't done it before. Goodbye, comrades.
Pleasure as always.
Bye.